Hi everyone, welcome back to Stamp with Anna. Today is the last day of the polished stone technique, and all week long I've made the background using two different colors, and we got different results. This one here I used Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie, and this one here I used Peekaboo Peach and Flirty Flamingo, and you got two tones on your background. Today I'm only going to use one. I'm going to use Soft Sky, and I thought that was a good color for a snow themed card. So what we need for this is our base, which is Soft Sky, and it's 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. Then we have a matte piece, which is Whisper White, and that's 3 3/4 by 5. And then we have a piece of the glossy cardstock, which is 3.5 by 4 3/4. The stamp set we're going to use is the Flurry of Wishes, and we're going to use the medium size Snowflake and the set of two smaller ones, and we're also going to use the Merry Christmas sentiment. And to cut the Merry Christmas out, we're going to use the stitched framelit oval. I'm going to use this one here. I think it's the third one in. And as an aside, these stitched shapes framelits are a great product to have. Great investment. You get so many framelits. You get 5 ovals. You get 5 circles, 5 ovals, and 5 squares, and each one of them makes this nice stitched image around your die cut. They layer nicely with the layering ovals, the layering squares, and the layering circles, and they also nest nicely in them between themselves. So if you used these two, you would have a nice nested double stitch. So it's a great investment. I find myself using this set all the time. So let's get started with the card. The first thing we're going to do is make our background. So I'm going to bring in the glossy paper. I'm going to take a cotton ball and some rubbing alcohol. I'm going to saturate my cotton ball. I don't want to overly saturate it, but I do want it wet enough to accept my reinker. And I'm going to put a couple drops of my reinker, and that's Soft Sky reinker. And then I'm just going to randomly pounce on my glossy cardstock. And because I'm only using one color, I'm probably going to put more of the one color than I did with the other ones. I didn't use as much of one color because I was going to come in and fill in with a second color. But there we go. And there's my sky. Now you see you have little puddles here. So what you do is you just take a dry cotton ball and come in and go over the whole card and just have the cotton ball absorb any of the puddles. And it dries just about instantly, so you can move on to the next step without having to wait. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in my Pierce mat, because this is the stamp set we're using is a photopolymer stamp set. And since we're going to be stamping off of the outside of the size of that, I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper. So I have my Versamark ink, and I'm going to first ink up my large snowflake, and I'm going to put one here. Now I have to remember that I'm going to come in with my smaller snowflakes, so I kind of have to figure out where they're going to go. And if you move the paper, you probably can't see it on camera, but I can. If I move the paper, I can see where my snowflake is. Put another one there. And I think I'll do one more large one right in this corner here. Now I'm going to come in with my smaller ones, and again I'm going to see where they are, where these are, and I'm going to fit these in between there. Put that right there. And right here. And lastly, right in this corner here. I think I have a good design back there. We'll see when I sprinkle my embossing powder. Now I'm going to bring in my tweezers because I don't want to smudge any of my Versamark ink with my fingers. I'm going to sprinkle this white. This is white embossing powder all over my card. Oh, and I think I did a perfect job there. Tap, tap, tap some extra off. And wherever you see a little embossing powder that you don't want, just with a little paintbrush, come in and brush that off. All right. Now I'm going to put this back in here. And we're ready to heat emboss. And I'm going to emboss this off camera. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm all heat embossed. So the next thing we're going to do is stamp our sentiment. And I'm going to bring in my matting piece. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment inside my matting piece. And then I'm going to cut it out because you're not going to see this anyway. Okay, there's Merry Christmas. I'm going to go die cut this out. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm all die cut out. And what I'm going to do now is mount my background, my polished stone background, onto this matting piece. And as you'll see, it will cover up the hole I just made in it. Okay, now I'm going to mount this on my matting piece. And as you can see, it's going to cover up that little hole right there. The next thing I'm going to do is add my ribbon. And I'm using this, I love this satin ribbon. It's either on the on the clearance rack, or it's retired. I know on the, it's 5/8 of an inch, by the way. I know on the clearance rack, they have it in silver. Maybe in gold. I'm not quite sure if they have any of the white left. But when it went on the clearance rack, I scooped up a bunch of it. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is lay down my long piece vertically, lay down my short piece horizontally, and then I'm just going to come in and make a knot. Now, you'll notice that when I laid it down originally, the long piece was in the back and the short piece was on the front. When you bring the long piece around to make your knot, your short piece is now in the back and your long piece is in the front. So what you're going to do is just tip it over, and you once again have the long piece on the back where it needs to be. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive on the back, excuse me, of my card. I'm going to position my bow where I want it to be. I'm going to wrap this sides around. And then I'm going to come in and trim the tails. Bring that up a little higher. Now I'm going to attach this to my card base. Oh, I think I just ran out of adhesive. Let's see. I think I have another one right here. Okay. Attach this right here. And as you can see, I have a larger border than I usually have. I just thought I wanted more blue showing on this. Okay. Now I have my Merry Christmas. I'm going to grab some dimensionals and put 2 on the back. And position that right here. And there we go. Quick and easy background technique. And like I said, you don't have to use the 2 colors like we did earlier this week. You can certainly use 1 color. I think the end result is just as pretty, and especially in this color for a snowflake and a sky. I think it's just fabulous. So if you have any questions about this project or any of the products I've used, please contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you back here next week.